Welcome back to Urban Debate. We're going to put the spotlight on two of the states, first Tamil Nadu and then West Bengal, two states that are going to be holding state elections. And already a lot of political noise is being generated in these states. Let's begin with Tamil Nadu, and one of the key issues that's back to the fore. Usually around elections, you do see this issue get heated up. The issue about pardoning the killers of Rajiv Gandhi. Those who were part of the assassination plot against India's former prime ministers and have been in jail since then, serving life sentence, which is actually a commuted sentence, because they were initially, some of them were given death sentence. Now this issue is back, and almost all political parties of Tamil Nadu are backing and lobbying for a pardon. Why is that? How does it really play out when it comes to elections and political benefits and advantages? Now let me tell you what has happened so far. The central government, in fact, has informed the Supreme Court recently that the Tamil Nadu governor will take a decision on the release of Rajiv Gandhi assassination case convict within 3 to 4 days. Remember, the release of all 7 convicts has been a long-standing emotive issue. The DMK is now demanding it. AIADMK had made a promise in their own manifesto, and these two parties have been saying it forever. It's now the centre that's also saying that yes, we will look at it. The governor is likely to take a decision in a couple of days, since the matter has now reached the Supreme Court. The only party that seems to be a little unclear about its stand, and maybe for obvious reasons, is the Congress party. So the Congress party has, for most of it, lobbied for a strong punishment for obviously killing the man who was a Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi. But we've also heard in the past from Priyanka Gandhi that she herself has forgiven the killers, and it's up to the courts to decide what has to be done. But the Congress party is not willing to take a clear stand and be part of these conversations, especially in the light of elections which are coming in, something that maybe their ally DMK is all right with, as long as they don't oppose, because the DMK is batting for a pardon. Let's talk about how important is it as an election issue. Let's say good evening to GC Shekhar, senior journalist who joins us this evening. C. Rajashekharan, founder, voice of Tamil Nadu and advocate. Kovai Satyan, spokesperson for the AIADMK, and Sarvanan, spokesperson for the DMK, joins us this evening. I actually want to start off with Mr. G.C. Shekhar and ask him, is it still an extremely big emotive issue for people in Tamil Nadu? Will it benefit the parties who rally and get the pardon for these people?
There is competitive nationalism going on in Tamil Nadu over Rajiv Gandhi's killing. It is unfortunate that even the ADMK, which was the biggest beneficiary of Rajiv Gandhi's assassination in 1991, because that facilitated Jayalalitha's massive win in that Lok Sabha and Assembly elections and her becoming Chief Minister for the first time, has also rallied behind them. In fact, you will be surprised to know that in as late as 2006 December, Jayalalitha had even criticized that the Rajiv Gandhi's assassins have not been hanged to death. By not carrying out the court's verdict, the Tamil Nadu police, the CBI, and the people of the country are being made to appear like fools. Such a thing will happen only in India and in no other country. So same Jayalalitha, and then in 2011, August 2011, when the Supreme Court commuted the death sentence to life sentence, she said that they should be released. She even passed a resolution in the assembly and then wrote to the center to have them released. But the center said nothing doing. It's a case. It was a case that was investigated by the CBI, and only the central government can decide on that. And that is how the Supreme Court came. Now, ultimately, everything boiled down to the governor's powers to release them, because the state Tamil Nadu cabinet recommended that they can be released, and so the governor decided to take his own time. So that gave opportunity for all the political parties in Tamil Nadu, except the Congress and the BJP, to make this is a big issue, as if they are the ultimate guardians of Tamil nationalism, and these people represent Tamil nationals, that they are fighting for Tamils. Because I just allow me to read out a list: P.K. Gupta, Iqbal, Rajaguru, Edward Joseph, Etiraj, Sundarraju Pillai, Ravi, Dharman, Chandra, Lata Kannan, Kokilavani, Santani Begum, Daryl Peter, Saroja Devi, Munuswamy. Except P.K. Gupta, the other 14 are Tamils who were killed along with Rajiv Gandhi. Nobody bothers about those Tamil lives, but they are bothered about these 7 Tamil lives. What happens? What happens to their families? No one bothered. What happens to justice to those Tamils who were killed along with Rajiv Gandhi for no fault of theirs? Okay, LTT had a reason to target Rajiv Gandhi, but what did these innocent bystanders do? So none of these parties will talk about the Tamils of these Tamils who died along with Rajiv Gandhi. So that shows their hypocrisy. Because they just want to make it a big political issue. They want to say that we are the bigger nationalist, Tamil nationalist, and so using that they want to get their votes. Whether it is ADMK or DMK or all the fringe parties, even the Congress is now vacillating. Now, I agree. There's TNC president is saying that if the court frees them, we don't have any objection. That is a big departure from the past when they had strongly opposed that these 7 should not be released. They should not be released from the prison at any time.
Okay, let me actually begin with Saravanan then. Saravanan, why is it that your party is demanding their early release? What about the other people, including 14 Tamilians who also got killed?
Yeah, see, let us not forget history when we speak about this demand of releasing this Rajiv Gandhi killers. Gopal Vinayak Godse, who was convicted for conspiring to kill Mahatma Gandhi, was let off prematurely. He did not die in the prison. He died much later. When such a thing can happen to the killer of Mahatma Gandhi, here we are not doing politics, we are not speaking Tamil nationalism, we are not doing anything. We are simply asking the governments to follow humanitarianism. A country is judged by, a civilization of the country is judged by how they treat their criminals. They have been inside the prison for the last more than 25 years and they have faced the gallows. They did not know whether they will live the day after for almost 10 years. They were in the gallows for 10 years. And what more punishment can we expect to inflict upon them? That is the reason why our party said they should be released on humanitarian grounds. There is nothing else attached to it. Nobody else is speaking anything contrary except humanitarianism. And apart from this, let us also not forget
but Mr. Saravanan, I'm sure, Mr. Saravanan, that this humanitarian ground can be a case for thousands of criminals who are languishing in our jails under trials and convicted ones who will be in jail for 20 years or more. Many of them also, from the state of Tamil Nadu. Parties specifically feel for the killers of Rajiv Gandhi and associate it with Tamil sentiment. Why is that? Please explain to us, how is it relevant for elections in 2021?
Tanvi, I don't think it has got any relevance to elections because this issue had seen many elections from the parliamentary election of 2014. It was the mistake, probably a deliberate one made by Selvi J. Jayalalitha, which ensured that they are still languishing inside the prison. See, what has happened is that in 2014, Jayalalitha, instead of invoking the Criminal Procedure Code, if she had invoked Article 161, which the ADMK government has invoked now, probably those convicted persons would have been out by now. But Selvi J. Jayalalitha, for political reasons, then did not invoke Article 161. She knew that this will go to the central government, thereby she invoked 433, 434 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Our leader, Dr. Kalaignar, at the time pointed out this anomaly. Pointed out if Jayalalitha really wanted to release them, she would have invoked Article 161. Any rookie lawyer would have suggested, would have advised the government, please invoke Article 161. The untrammeled powers of the governor to offer clemency. But Selvi J. Jayalalitha did not do that. But now, in 2018, the ADMK government did resort to Article 161. The Supreme Court said, the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court said, yes, you can't resort to 434. You should have resorted to Article 161. 161 powers of the governor are very wide. And now the travesty of justice is this, that the governor who ought to have signed it has been sitting on this file for the last 2 years.
Yes,
which he has no business
let
to
me
do.
take up
The
that
Supreme
point.
Court
Let
has
me take up that
condemned it.
point and go across to Mr. Rajashekharan. Mr. Rajashekharan,
No, I want to ask Mr. Saravanan one thing.
let me just get in our two other panelists, then Mr. Shekhar, I'll come back to you. Rajashekharan, why is it, isn't it a political move when you see the issue being revived only ahead of elections, whether it's the center stand now or the states, speaking about it, or DMK speaking about it, any other party? Nobody went and reminded the governor so far that you are sitting on this recommendation. Please do something about it.
Tanvi, after a long time, I'm on Mirror now with you.
Yes.
Thanks for that. See, this issue has been raised by all the political parties except BJP and Congress, rightly said by Mr. G.C. Shekhar. And this has become an election issue always. If you just rewind what all had happened in the past, before the election, 6 months, 7 months before, or 4 months before, this issue will crop up. And everybody will be talking about this, and nothing will happen. They will come to power. I'm blaming both the governments. They will come to power. They will forget the issue. This has been happening for a quite long time. But it was late Chief Minister Madam Jayalalitha who had passed a resolution, as rightly pointed out by Saravanan. It was TN Assembly which had passed a resolution, and it was sent to the governor. Now, the Honorable Supreme Court, the Solicitor General Senior Tushar Mehta had said in the Supreme Court that the governor is going to take a stand on this. He is going to decide on it in a couple of days or few days from now. So, this being the case, already nearly 30 years these people are there. Peralivalan is almost 55 years, I think so, I'm not sure. And all this put in a nutshell, high time everybody takes an unanimous call and allow these prisoners, allow these convicts to be released on humanitarian grounds. That is my point. Even Rajiv Gandhi's daughter, Priyanka Gandhi, came down, met Nalini, and she went back and said, we have nothing against these people. So all this adds to it. Even Madam Sonia Gandhi had pardoned these people because they lost their husband, their father, being such a great loss to that family. See, as G.C. Shekhar also said, 14 other Tamilians also died on the spot in the same incident. So their family is also languishing, suffering. Nobody is well off losing their family head. Head of the family is no more in all the cases, all the 14 cases. Like Mr. Rajiv, because he is a former Prime Minister, this issue is being blown out of proportion by others who don't want to happen. But as rightly said by Saravanan and G.C. Shekhar, it's high time. The governor takes a call and helps in the release of all the convicts, I would say. Be it Peralivalan, be it Nalini, be it Murugan, they should take a call and also follow the same precedent to other cases also. As you raised it rightly, this yardstick should be applied to all other convicts who are languishing for decades in the prison on merits, on humanitarian grounds. And all this has to be taken into consideration. We are against capital punishment. So let us not beat around the bush, again make it a poll issue and forget it again. That is my point. If you are going to take it up, do it immediately. Otherwise, just leave it aside. Let them live peacefully in the prison at least. Let them not politicize the whole issue for political benefits and gains. That is my point.
Yes, but that seems to be happening, and I'm trying to understand why. When all the political parties, are trying to be on the same side, who do you think this is going to benefit? Kovai Satyan, if your party truly believed in getting this done, as your manifesto, I'm told, promised, then why did we wait till the last 5 months to reach this point?
Yeah, good evening, Tanvi. With due respect to the fellow panelists, let me recall the history. Yes, the course of events had a political narrative from the press side as well, which cannot be denied. I would be surprised if Mr. Shekhar, who was in the panel, denies these events. It was in 2000, based on the DMK's request, then Governor Fatima Bibi gave only for Nalini, commuted her sentence. So nobody knew why it was only her, not the other 6. So it gained some traction and importance, and everybody started noticing this. And it started gaining momentum when Priyanka Gandhi came, met Nalini in the prison, and came out and made a statement that the family had forgiven her. Then it again started getting more traction, and it has become a topic of discussions, a topic of interest among the minds of the people. The only party which stands with them till on only one ground, that is on humanitarian ground, is ADMK. And none of those convicts have sent mercy plea and petition stating that they are innocent and they are being made scapegoats. Their only petition which says that they can be considered for release based on humanitarian grounds, because it's almost going to be 3 decades since they have been convicted, and every life under this planet has the right to live till they die, and there is no harm in they exploring their options or whatsoever it is. So whenever, as a law abiding citizen, as a law abiding party, we take the legal course, it has got its own twists and turns. It was in 2014, not forgetting in 2011 when we passed a resolution which paved way for reducing the life sentence, death sentence to life sentence of 3. When 2014, when we said, when our then Chief Minister Puchitalavi Amma said, we are going to invoke Article 161, we are going to release, let me seek the centre's opinion, because there are central agencies which are involved in this. It was then Congress government which approached the Supreme Court and said, no, state cannot take unilateral decision, it is arbitrary, and the central concurrence is required. It was the same argument which took place in 2015 as well. So now today, the central government has given a clearance saying that all the powers lies with the governor and central has no role. It gives a ray of hope. It shows that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So there is a clarity from the center at present, after a long hope and chase on different spectrums in 2014, 2015, 2016, and the last one was in 2018. So we stood based on the humanitarian
But if
grounds.
it all has to boil down to it is the governor's decision, and the governor has to take it. How does it matter? What any central party has to say, Mr. Kovai Satyan. All we had to do was take a cabinet decision, a recommendation, and send it to the governor.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's precisely the point. Is when 2014 May, when we said that yes, we have decided to invoke 161, we want to release it. It is the same central government which went to the Supreme Court and said that it can't be an unilateral decision, it can't be an arbitrary. There has to be a concurrence from the central government as well. So it is easier for them to again go back to the Supreme Court and knock his doors and say that yes, our concurrence is required. So you need clarity on every.
Can I come in? I just want to make a clarification.
Yes.
There is some obstacles. Yeah.
I know you are a profession. You are a legal profession. You will add more to it.
Yeah.
My point is.
So let us put it. No. Let us put it in the proper perspective. See, the allegation. Let me complete this, Mr. Kovai Satyan. Then you can respond. You have been saying that it is. Yeah. You have been saying that it is the ADMK party which invoked Article 161. I am saying the ADMK party, which ought to have done that in 2014, did not do so. That is the specific allegation. If you had resorted to Article 161, that is what I'm again saying. A rookie lawyer will tell you that Article 161 has untrammeled powers.
So may I just, for our viewers to understand, while you all are very well aware of it, not too many of us will be aware of it. So let me just very quickly read out Article 161 of the Constitution that says that the governor of the state shall have the power to grant pardons, reprieves, respite or remission of punishment, or to suspend, remit, commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offence against any law relating to a matter to which the executive power of the state extends. This is exactly what the Article 161 says, giving the power to the governor of the state to take this decision. Now, it's 2021 and we're still fighting about it. Mr. G.C. Shekhar, back to you. You wanted to make a comment before I ask you my next question.
The Article 161, the governor can commute on the basis of a recommendation by the state cabinet. That is how it works.
Correct.
And that is how in April 2000, the state government headed by the DMK, Mr. Karunanidhi, recommended that Nalini's death sentence be commuted to life sentence.
Correct.
They stopped with that. They did not. They were silent on the other 3 people who were on the death row. Why? Why that hypocrisy? Why they could have recommended it even then? But again, Jayalalitha, why did she change the stand after 2011? It is only after the LTT got decimated, Jayalalitha realized that she had no threat to her life, and then there was the people's Rajapakse was seen as the combined enemy of the Tamil people in Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, and she wanted to exploit that Tamil sentiment. And that is why she also started arguing for the commutation and release of these assassins. Otherwise, till then, Jayalalitha was very staunch in demanding that the three people be hanged to death, because there was their pardon, their appeal for pardon was lying with the president for years together. That is one of the reasons why the Supreme Court commuted it, because the president was taking so long. Abdul Kalam sat over it for during his entire term. He did not give assent to their pardon request for pardon, or nor did he say he rejected it. So that delay, that is what led the Supreme Court to commute their death sentence to life sentence. So only then Jayalalitha used that opportunity to make it appear that she is also a defender of Tamil nationalism, that she is also an advocate of Tamil nationalism. She is no less than Karunanidhi or the other Tamil fringe groups that were pro-LTT, and then she also jumped onto this bandwagon. It is nothing but political opportunism.
It is nothing but political opportunism. In fact, Saravanan, why don't you tell us how you've managed to keep your allies quiet about it? Congress's stand so far for these many years, the party stand has been very, very clear. And I'm not talking about what Priyanka Gandhi on a personal terms as the daughter of Rajiv Gandhi has to say about it. Today, Congress didn't even want to be part of this conversation.
Yeah. See, Tanvi, first and foremost, why we wanted to have the death sentence of Nalini commuted was that she was a female. That was the distinction made in 2000. So this is really not about any politics. In 2000, when it was just 9 years, we wanted to have that humanitarianism shown on those people, and that is the only reason why it was commuted for Nalini and not for others. They earned their commutation by the courts and by some other...
Mr. Saravanan, somebody who was part of an assassination plot to kill the sitting Prime Minister of this country and managed to carry this out, you began to feel on a humanitarian ground within 9 years for that lady?
Yes, she was commuted. She was not released, Tanvi. And let us not forget the parallel of Gopal Vinayak Godse, who killed.
I really don't think you should be citing that as a parallel at all.
Yes, it is. It is. Mahatma Gandhi was killed by Godse, and Gopal Vinayak Godse was part of one of the conspirators. These persons are conspirators. They stand on the same footing as that of Gopal Vinayak Godse. Let us not forget that. And apart
so, do you think we should have pardoned and commuted the death sentence of Ajmal Kasab?
That the government has to take a call on that.
There are no humanitarian grounds there, is it? I'm just trying to understand where you draw the line.
See, that's what, there is a difference between conspiracy, part of people, part of the conspiracy.
You know it and I know it. Let's just admit it. This isn't about humanitarian grounds for everybody else in the world. This is simply about the Tamil sentiment.
This is not political.
And Tamilian pride.
This is not all about
that. That's what it is.
See, this is not all about that. If that is the situation, if that was the case, if you think that is the case, the Supreme Court would not have commuted the sentence. Why did the Supreme Court commute? Was the Supreme Court guided by Tamil nationalism? Why did the Supreme Court commute the death sentence of 3 persons?
Only because of the long delay.
See, that is what we are saying. That is what we are also now saying, that they have been inside the prison for 27 years. Tell me who is inside the prison for 27 years in India? Which are the prisoners who are there inside the prison for more than 27 years? And for the last, in those 27 years, for more than 10 years, they have been facing the gallows. They wouldn't know that tomorrow whether they would be alive or not. Who would have undergone this torture?
I want to come in now.
Killed is something else. This is what we are talking about.
Yes, okay. Kawai wants to respond. Kawai wants to respond.
Please.
This argument clearly exposes the double standards of DMK, because it's so surprising when Saravanan made a point saying that they are considering this case on humanitarian grounds, and going to justify why they asked for the commutation for Nalini, he said she's a woman. And it is the same party which denied entry for Prabhakaran's mother, who came here for medical treatment. Weren't
Now
she
you
a
are
woman?
being a supporter of Prabhakaran. Oh, Mr.
No,
Goswami, now you have become a supporter of Prabhakaran, is it? Oh, very good. Come on, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Now you have become the supporter of Mr. Prabhakaran. Go ahead about that. Expose. Please tell that. Please,
Let me
please. Say how
Saravanan,
you are.
if you,
How you have
when you
suddenly become
talk,
concerned about Mr.
Pawai's
Prabhakaran.
voice will automatically get cut because he's on a Skype connection. Let him finish, please. Otherwise, we will not be able to hear him when both of you talk. Yes, Kawai.
This is how political masalas are being added by the DMK in this case from day one. It is in 2009, the late leader Karunanidhi made a statement saying that Prabhakaran is my good friend. And when there was a retaliation from the Congress, the very next day, he backed out and said, no, I didn't mean in that lines. History has never forgotten this. In 2009, when Prabhakaran's mother landed in Chennai from Malaysia for medical treatment, your government sent her back. So, weren't she a woman? For your eyes, you're talking about only Nalini as a woman. So, the entire episode, how this snowballed into a political controversy, is by the DMK and Congress and by their allies. It is in 2011 because they are languishing in jail, because they too have the right for appeal. We said, yes, we will stand by them on humanitarian grounds. In none of the occasions, we justified their act saying that, no, they are innocent. We never made any statement as such. Neither our leaders made any statement as such. We purely went by the merits of the happenings. They were languishing in jail beyond their term. And it is their right to seek for early release. And it is there permitted in the law itself. If it is not permitted in the law, then they wouldn't be standing here. We wouldn't be discussing this case. Unlike DMK suddenly saying that she is a woman, that's why we have to commute her, suddenly saying, no, we cannot do this. We are not in double standards in any, for the last decade or so, we were never in double standards.
Right. Let me ask one question to Mr. C. Rajshekharan before we wrap this conversation up. Mr. Rajshekharan, is this going to benefit AIADMK politically in this election if the decision comes through? Is that what it is? Does it still matter to the voters today as an agenda?
Tanvi, you have answered the question and you are asking me to give me an answer. Definitely, if Perarivalan and others are released, it is going to benefit ADMK, BJP alliance in a very big way, because this Tamil nationalist people who are even Mr. Vaiko is batting for the release of these convicts. And he will also will appreciate this move by the ADMK government and BJP government. So everybody will welcome, and it will be a huge political gain for ADMK BJP. All said and done. Goes without saying.
All right. Last comments from Mr. G.C. Shekhar before we wrap this up. Same question to you, Mr. Shekhar. Will it benefit AIADMK if this decision comes through?
Not to that extent, but it depends on whether these people, if they come out of prison, and whether they issue some statement, and whether they'll be part of the campaign, because I'm sure there'll be some restrictions when they come out, because they won't be allowed to indulge in political activities. And I think there are going to be such restrictions placed on them during the release, because every political party in Tamil Nadu, every fringe party in Tamil Nadu is trying to use them up for their own political campaigning. Because
Agreed.
whether it is a DMK or the ADMK or Vaiko or somebody else, they will definitely would like to parade them on their platform and then say that they are free only because of us. Definitely, that crass mentality, that political mentality prevails in Tamil Nadu. So I'm sure that the court will also, the governor I think the court will impose certain conditions on their release while releasing them,
not the court.
that they should not involve in political activity. That is likely.
Tanvi, let us also not forget that both Madam Priyanka Gandhi and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, both of them have said they have pardoned. They have no issues if these prisoners are released. This is one of the mitigating circumstances. Definitely, that will play. That should play.
So Priyanka Gandhi has said that, yes, but the Congress party even after that had not changed officially their position on this.
See, Congress,
That's
definitely.
still where Congress party stands. They may change tomorrow.
No,
They
no,
also
Congress-
understand, they should understand the value of these
Tanvi,
elections. And like all of you experts are saying, this is going to matter. To what extent, we'll wait and watch.
Elections at all, Tanvi. This is not about elections at all. This is about
Tanvi.
the magnanimity of Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Madam Priyanka Gandhi. Let us not forget that.
Yes, Mr.
Who has the
Rajshekharan.
heart to pardon these people.
Tanvi, see, Priyanka
It is not
Gandhi
easy. It is not
had
easy.
openly said,
Yes.
no, excuse me, Priyanka Gandhi had openly said they have nothing against these convicts.
Correct.
They have pardoned, but they have never said that they want them to be released. Nowhere both of them had said that they want these convicts to be released. That has to be noted.
So when did they
And
say
all
that
the
they should not
Congress
be
state
released?
leaders.
No, when did they say
No,
that
no,
they
no,
should not be released? When did they say that they should not be
They
released?
haven't said they should be released. No, they haven't said they should be released also.
No,
That is the point.
No, they did not say that they should not be released.
haven't
Let us
said
not
either.
forget that.
No, they haven't
We
said
should
either.
really
No, that is the
appreciate
point.
their magnanimity. Please have,
No,
when
no.
you are saying they should be released, please have the heart
Leaders.
to accept their
All
magnanimity.
right,
also.
gentlemen. I'm way over time here. I am way
Tanvi,
over time. One thing that is clear from
line,
what
no,
all
one
four of
line.
you are saying, and I think
no,
for,
one-
anybody who is well versed with the dynamics of this in Tamil Nadu will know that it's extremely clear that this is an election issue. That parties have repeatedly used it as part of their vote bank politics. And yes, I'm not saying it is only around when elections come, but it definitely becomes the big talking point where everybody from AIADMK to DMK seems to care so much about humanity and pardoning the killers of India's former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi on humanitarian grounds. The governor is going to take a decision on it shortly. We'll see how this unfolds. Now, while this may be important to a lot of people in Tamil Nadu, one would hope that our political parties actually find more current, important, relevant issues that matter to a larger number of people, where their governance actually matters, where their policies matter, where the schemes that they implement really matter to improve our daily lives. But it is no denying that issues like pardon for the killers of Rajiv Gandhi are big in Tamil Nadu, as are legacies of our age-old leaders, which is what takes me to our next debate.